parental controls, and more. Sign up for a free 2-week trial today at aura.com/Robert.
Sports is what we do.
You're in your car, you're in your house, you're wherever you are. You're a sports fan.
97.3 ESPN.
Because if you weren't a sports fan, you wouldn't be listening.
WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Phillies game. Well, they're not playing it tonight. That news came down about 90 minutes ago. Plus, we will get into just different things going on in the Philadelphia sports world. Flyers aftermath of that trade. Plus, coming up in about 40 minutes from now, we will talk with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. Well, Rob is hosting an event where Brian Dawkins will be speaking, and we will be giving you a chance to win tickets to that event. So be sure to stay tuned for all the details coming up in about 40 minutes from now. Your chance to go see Brian Dawkins speak up there in Volley Forge. Rob Maaddi will be hosting the event. As always, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. That is the text board. Also, your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Also, it is a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg, I know he will have something to say about the PGA Live Tour merger. Dave's a big golf guy. And we'll get Dave's thoughts on the Phillies. They finally turned things around. Is it just because they're in June? Is it because Kyle Schwarber's hitting leadoff? We'll ask him his thoughts on all of that. But first, I do want to start with the Phillies news. So for those who might just be tuning in, might not know all the details, the Phillies and the Phillies and Tigers game has been postponed till tomorrow, as has the Yankees White Sox game. Now, the reason why both those games have been postponed is because of this massive smog, or honestly, I gotta be honest with you guys, I don't even know if smog is the right term, but it's the term that I've seen other people use. But because of the wildfires going on in Canada, the smoke has come so far down the coast that they have grounded planes at LaGuardia Airport and in Newark Airport. The Phillies have postponed their game till tomorrow. The Giants and Jets were off from workouts today because of the smog in the air, the poor air quality, and a couple other events have been postponed as well due to health and safety officials basically trying to get people out of harm's way, I guess would be the working theory. So, look, it's not the end of the day it's not the end of the day if the Phillies don't play tonight, okay? Especially considering they had an off day already tomorrow. It's just disappointing because the Phillies looked like they were finally coming around. It looked like that the Phillies were in a position to really make some noise, to really go out there and start riding a hot streak going into the Dodgers series this weekend. And instead, we're talking about them having a day off. I think that's the bigger issue here. The bigger issue is, you were hoping for the Phillies to continue their winning streak. Now, you could argue that, part of the weather issue and the smog started last night because it seemed like people were having trouble getting the ball in the air and hitting home runs last night. So, look, maybe one extra day is not going to harm them. But like I said, when you win 4 games in a row, you want to keep the ball rolling. You want to go out there and keep plowing away, keep getting those wins. You're not playing a good Tigers team. Keep taking advantage of them. And instead, Canadian wildfires postponed the Phillies game. So it's all the Canadians' fault, right? Or depending on who you ask on the internet, it might be the Canadian government's fault. So, but as far as we're concerned down here, we'll see what happens. I know that it looks like, at least optically and according to reports online, that New York City, their smog and air quality is actually in worse condition than Philadelphia is. And everyone seems to think that this will be gone by tomorrow. So hopefully I don't have to smell any weird smells like I smelled last night. I told Mike Gill on the Sports Bash earlier that I first started noticing the smell around midnight last night. Now, I live on the western edge of Cape May County. So for me, getting a whiff of outside was weird because it didn't smell like a normal fire. It smelled like something completely different. So, it smelled almost like a burnt plastic or a kerosene or something like that. So, the wildfire obviously is a problem in Canada. We hope they get that situation figured out up there, but at least down here, we are aware that, we got to go one more day with the Phillies. So it's disappointing. The Flyers trade, I want to hit on one point before we get the break. And that is, when Danny Briere said yesterday that we're open for business, I think for me that it spoke a lot to this team is open to going in a new direction. And in a town where the Sixers, they're basically hoping and praying that Daryl Morey makes the right decisions, in a town where Howie Roseman got the Eagles to their second Super Bowl appearance in the last several years, in a city where the Phillies were just in the World Series last season. The Flyers are really the forgotten child in town. And there's a part of me that looks at the Flyers and I personally look at them and I say, can you just give the fans a reason to go back to watch the games? Flyers attendance has been going down the last couple of years. They have struggled to consistently draw attendance because they've been putting out such a bad product. Well, they fire Chuck Fletcher. The new GM comes in and says that we're open for business. They trade their top defenseman. They got a good haul for him, by the way. You heard Scott Laughlin say last night that, what they got for Provorov was really good in terms of getting the first-round pick and a goaltender and a guy who's going to be a top 6 lineman, a top 6, forward on the lines in Walker. So you would think that, if you say you're open for business, anyone is open for a possibility. I think the Flyers have a real chance at reacquiring fan interest this offseason. Not because they're going to be great next year, but because for the first time in what it feels like a long time, it appears that you have an organization, the Flyers, that actually has a plan. Keith Jones, for a guy who has worked in the Flyers broadcasting and in the NHL as a whole, he sees how other teams are building their teams. And you have to think that he's trying to do the same thing here in Philadelphia. And that's a good sign in a town where expectations are higher than other towns. It's just a shame that Vegas and Florida, the Panthers and the Golden Knights, are in the Stanley Cup final, because those are two cities that lack the passion of a Philadelphia, a Boston, a Toronto, and other hockey towns. Coming up next is the Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg, sports columnist for 973 ESPN.com, joins me next each Wednesday. Josh Hennig hanging out with you in the Power Hour, known as Game Night on 973 ESPN.
This Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, come join us as we broadcast live before the ribbon-cutting ceremony at the new Captain Chucky's Crab Cake Company on Landis Avenue in Seattle City. Jeffrey Nash from FastLandHandicapper.com breaks down the Belmont. Hour 2, it's the Beach Patrol Report, brought to you by McCann Realtors of Seattle City and the Ocean City Lifeguard Alumni Association. This week, former captain of the Seattle City Beach Patrol, Tom McCann, visits us. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein live from Seattle City, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
With summer savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. Fit your space, fit your needs, and fit your budget. Like a new LG laundry set with 6-motion technology, using different wash motions to get clothes cleaner. And sensor dry to automatically adjust drying time, all making laundry quicker, cleaner, and easier on your clothes. Final days to save up to 30% on select appliances plus $100 off select laundry sets at the Home Depot ends June 7th. Pricing valid May 18th through June 7th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Tired of wasting your money on testosterone booster products that just don't work? We don't blame you. That's why Nugenix Total T lets you try before you buy. Just text HOT to 369-369 to claim your complimentary sample. Why have millions of men already trusted Nugenix for a man-boosting increase in their testosterone levels? Well, nothing else is like it. It contains testofen, a patented key ingredient shown to work. Nugenix Total T boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you feel better at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand and #1 at GNC and #1 at Walmart. But don't take our word for it. Try before you buy. If it works, keep using it. If not, keep the sample. You've got nothing to lose, but you could gain energy, muscle, drive, even more passion. Text HOT to 369-369. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HOT to 369-369. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
DQ presents how to get the most from your next DQ treat run. Step 1, grab the new Oreo Brookie Blizzard. Step 2, dig in. That's it, because this triple-decker treat has brownie and cookie brookie pieces, plus Oreo pieces. Oh, that's a mouthful of DQ goodness in every red spoonful. Yes, it's time for a treat run, because the Oreo Brookie Blizzard is here for a limited time, only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Turn your home into restricted airspace. Tell incoming flights you want them diverted. The new Raid Essentials Light Trap plugs into the wall and uses light to attract, then trap flying insects like fruit flies and mosquitoes. Its 24/7 continuous attraction provides insecticide-free protection that's people and pet friendly. Consider air service interrupted. New Raid Essentials Light Trap. Insecticide-free protection.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer WetJet. With Swiffer WetJet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer WetJet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for more details. That's MattBlattKiaNJ.com.
It's got to be a
Matt Blatt Kia. You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Don't forget, coming up in about less than 30 minutes from now, we will tell you about how you have a chance to go see Brian Dawkins speak this weekend. Maaddi will join us coming up around 6:40 tonight. Talk more about the event they're having this Saturday. But right now, it is a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg is back to talk about a plethora of different things. You know, Dave, I've literally already had people texting into the show asking me, do you think Dave Weinberg has thoughts on the PGA Live Golf merger? And I told them, I'm sure Dave has something on his mind because I know how much you love golf. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. Trying to keep the smoke out of my eyes and face and lungs, but other than that, I'm all right.
Yeah, well, apparently we have it a lot less than New York City has right now. I mean,
yeah, that's true, man.
Bad.
I saw pictures of that. It's really awful out there. Yep, up there. But it's getting a little better here. Actually, it's getting worse here as the day goes on, but still not as bad as North Jersey and New York. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, all right, Dave, I'll open the floor for you. The PGA Tour decided to compromise and go get the money, and now all the golfers are chanting for Jay Monahan's head. Basically, you know, it's this is looking really bad.
Yeah, it is. And it's rightfully so, too. I mean, I don't get why they did this. I mean, other than money, I guess. But, I mean, the PGA Tour certainly didn't need Live Golf. I mean, why would they even care less? I mean, the ratings have been abysmal. Nobody goes and watches. The format is ridiculous. Yeah, I don't get it. I guess they just, like I said, I guess the money, the Saudi Arabian Public Fund or whatever it is, proved to be too tempting to turn down. But for the commissioner to do this without even consulting with the players or the 9/11 families, it was just it just stunk all the way around. I don't understand it, and I don't understand how he still has a job.
You know, I just don't understand what exactly the PGA Tour is afraid of, because a lot of the reports out there that they didn't want this to go to trial because they're already under investigation for antitrust and, you know, potentially manipulating their 501c status. And, you know, so it's like, are you guys really violating the rules that much that you were afraid to go to trial? Like, I mean, how shady is the PGA Tour at this point?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot to it that we don't understand or haven't heard about. I don't know the answer. Like I said, I'm befuddled that they would even consider having a merger with Live Golf and the DP Tour, I think it's called.
DP Tour, World Tour.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all. I mean, I'm really disappointed in them for doing this for him, I guess I should say. He didn't consult anybody, so
no, he didn't.
Him, I guess.
But like Rory McIlroy said this morning, he was like, you know, I heard rumors, I heard there might be speculation of something happening, but he said nobody told us ahead of time this was happening. It was just like one day it was PGA versus Live, the next day it was, hey, we're all friends again. I was telling people it reminds me a little bit of, and I know it's not the same, but it's like, you know, Dave, you know, for those who are not of a certain age, they don't remember what the world was like before the NFL as we know today. You know, when you had the AFL versus the NFL in the 60s, you know, I mean, Al Davis said it was war, right, in the 60s. And it was like, then one day it was like, and we're all together now. And everyone was like, but we just spent the last decade hating each other.
Yeah. I just don't, I'm just like, what you just slapped Rory in the face and Tiger and all these other guys. Yeah, these guys who were offered $1 bazillion in Hideki Matsuyama to jump, and they didn't. And you know, they've been going on touting the virtues of the PGA, and they you know, they respect the game so much that they would never do this. And then all of a sudden, you know, Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson, oh, come on back. And you know, you already got your $150 million, but you can keep that. Just come on back and play and make some more. I was really, really I was flabbergasted when I heard this yesterday.
I mean, you mentioned Tiger. I know Tiger is going to have his own set of separate events starting next year.
Right.
I mean, is a guy like Tiger basically just kind of give the middle finger to everybody and say, I'm only going to show up for majors, and if you want to see me play, I'm going to have my own tour now? Like, are we talking about Tiger basically like, shunting everybody?
Well, I heard that I was watching another TV show just a few minutes ago, and they had mentioned that maybe Rory and Tiger and those guys, maybe they're thinking of having separate events or branching out a little bit, because there's a lot of sponsors out there who are now out of the loop. That you think the Saudis are now the primary financiers of the PGA Tour now, I guess, and FedEx, I think, will probably have something to do with that. I don't know, but every tour has their own sponsor. Maybe Rory and Tiger and those guys go to them and say, hey, we'd love to play in your event if you can, sponsor us. Maybe that's an alternative for them. I don't know.
Yeah, for those who don't know, there is a new golf venture that Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy are launching in 2024 called Tomorrow's Sports, and the idea being that it's a basically a different presentation and style of golf. And Adam Scott has already said that he wants to be a part of it, and he's all in for it. So if there's already a partnership there with Tiger and Rory, I mean, you're telling me that Tiger is wealthy beyond belief. He don't need nobody. But I mean, do you think Tiger is powerful enough to say, I'm going to be the face of a new golf league, everyone come join me?
He has a lot of influence. I don't know if he's that powerful, though. I mean, I think the game is above any one person. So I'd have to wait and see what kind of formula he presents, what kind of format, that kind of thing. I mean, he certainly has a lot of influence and sway over players in the PGA, particularly Rory and a couple of the other big names. But I don't know if he has enough clout or power or financial backing to form an entire tour. I think this might be events here and there, and then I think the PGA Tour players are still going to play like the mandated events and the majors and that kind of stuff. But it's all up in the air right now at this point, I guess.
Dave Weinberg joining us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Extra Point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, despite the fact the Phillies game got postponed till tomorrow because of this smog situation, guess what? The Phillies have won 4 straight. Are you giving a thumbs up like, hey, they're finally finding themselves? Or are you saying, it's June, they do this every year?
No. How do I do it? Okay. I'm sorry. Who did they beat?
They beat the Nationals and the Tigers.
Okay, there you go. Talk to me when they beat the Dodgers.
Well, they got the Dodgers this weekend,
right.
And theoretically, they could win 2 out of 3 because one of those nights, the Dodgers don't even know who they're starting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly encouraging that they've gotten on track a little bit, but I had not a disagreement, but I guess an argument with Mike on Twitter about it. And he's like, well, they won 9 in a row last year in June, and they beat up on weak teams, and that was able to turn their season around. And I'm like, well, they won at that point they had won 3 in a row, not 9, and they got some good teams coming up to play. So I'm not quite ready to think that they're ready for the World Series. I think they're still in 4th place. Am I right?
They're still in 4th place in the NL East. I have to double check where they stand in the wild card standings, because as we know, that's how they got in last year. So
right, it's got to be lower than 4th, or no better than 4th, right? Or 3rd.
Let's see here.
3rd.
Phillies are currently 3 games out of the final spot.
Okay, so that's 4th then, right?
Well,
or 3rd.
Clean out of the wild card. It's weird because it's the way they list it is you have the first 3 teams that are in. So right now it's the Dodgers, Marlins, and Pirates are in, and the Phillies are 3 games behind the Pirates, and the 2 teams ahead of them are the Giants and the Mets.
Wait, what? Say it again now.
Right, exactly. There's somebody right now listening to the radio who's like, wait, what? So if the season ended right now, the three teams that would be in the wild card are the Dodgers, the Marlins, and the Pirates. The
Dodgers,
Phillies
Marlins,
are
Pirates. Okay.
The Phillies are 3 games behind the Pirates. The 2
Okay.
games ahead of the Phillies between them and the Pirates are the Giants and the Mets.
Okay. I think I got it. So they're behind the Marlins, the Pirates.
The Pirates have the third spot. The Pirates have the third spot. The 3
Phillies
teams
are behind them.
Yeah, so behind the Pirates, you have the Giants 1.5 games. You have the Mets at 2 games, and the Phillies at 3 games. And then
So they're in 6th place in the wild card.
I guess, but 3 teams make it in, so yeah.
Okay, all right. So they got to
Yeah.
pass 2 to get to or they got to pass 3.
Listen, leave it to baseball to make something complicated, okay? I mean,
Yeah, that sounds way beyond my expertise.
My thinking is that, well, you made the postseason last year from the wild card. You know, I'm not going to discount that again this year. So
True. No, I'm not either. No, they have a shot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of baseball left. They can certainly turn it around. I'm just not ready to anoint them the World Series contenders again just yet.
I mean, do we really believe that the Pirates and the Marlins are going to keep up this pace? I mean,
why not?
Why not? Because the Pirates and Marlins both have a negative run differential, just like the Phillies have. So I mean, how are they really that much better than the Phillies?
Oh no. I kind of always find myself pulling for the Marlins, though. I mean, they have one. They probably still have one of the lowest payrolls in baseball.
Oh, they do,
for sure. But they wind up always finding a way. Every 3-4 years you see them in the World Series or the NLCS or whatever, and they just they get these young kids, they just develop them, and then they make a run, and then they trade them off and start over again. And then I kind of like this. I'm glad that the Pirates are really relevant again too. I mean, it's been way too long since the We Are Family days with Willie Stargell and all those guys, and now to see them finally, they've been bad for a long time. So I'm and Andrew McCutcheon's back there, which he suffered for so many years in Pittsburgh. So I'm glad that they're at least in the running again. That's good for the city, I think.
Yeah, so I'm stealing this factoid from Jason Stark's latest article in The Athletic. But so Luis Urias right now, he's batting 400 on the year for the Marlins, okay? He's batting 400. I mean, he is people are watching his every at bat.
Yeah.
But even though he's hitting 400, he has scored less runs this year than Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, no kidding. Wow. How about that?
So, I mean, we're at a point now where you literally have a guy batting 400, but his team can't get him in to score any runs because the rest of the team is that mediocre. Meanwhile, Kyle Schwarber has like a 178 batting average, and his team has gotten him to score more runs. It's just
not really. Weird, I mean, Schwarber scores himself, right? Pretty much.
Well, maybe that's Luis Urias' problem. Maybe he's not. Maybe he doesn't do himself any favors.
Yeah, right. By the way, did you see that stat from yesterday that it was like only the 3rd time in the Phillies history that they won 1-0 with a leadoff homer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember Johnny Briggs playing back in '69. That shows you how old I am.
Well, I mean, you mentioned We Are Family, but my mind when the Pirates goes, the last time I remember them being good was the early 90s when it was Andy Van Slyke and Jeff King and Doug Drabeck out there in Pittsburgh.
Oh, goodness. Okay, you're going way back. It was John Calabaria, or what was his name? John Calo.
Well, I know Barry Bonds was on the team, so.
Oh, was he? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was the outfield, if I remember correctly, was Bonds, Andy Van Slyke. I forget who the right fielder was. The infield was Jeff King at third, Jay Bell at short. And I remember that, that was the famous, Sid Breams, sliding in for the Braves, getting into the World Series. And pretty much the Braves destroyed the Pirates because once Barry Bonds left in free agency, the whole team fell apart. So
yeah, I got you. Well, I go back to, like I said, Stargell and Roberto.
Yeah, you go back.
And
you go back to the real Hall of Famers. I'm going back to the All Stars. So
I got you. Doc Ellis.
Dave, Yeah, Dave, before I let you go, I did want to ask you, obviously this is a time of year where teams are in training camps and everything. Do you, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, so forgive me, but
That's
do
okay.
you, in all your years of covering the Eagles, was there a storyline from like an OTA or an off season that was the most like ridiculous or laughable that you remember?
You are putting me on the spot. Let me see.
Well, I feel like every few years there's some like ridiculous storyline. You know, like when the dream team happened, the one year, and like
Yeah,
all
that
the
was a good one. Yeah.
like or like when who was the one wide receiver? Oh, like people were bragging about Dietrich Gels in, like the late 90s, and like people were like losing their minds about him. I think it was like Ray Rhodes last year, and like he had like a great OTA in training camp.
There's always one guy like that. I remember Cornelius Ingram,
Cornelius
tight end.
Ingram, the tight end.
Tight end from Florida. He was supposed to be the next big thing, and then he never panned out. There's always like one or two guys that really light it up until the real football starts. One of the most intriguing ones I remember though was when Tim Tebow was trying to make the Eagles, and I thought he was a shoo-in. I thought he was like really impressive and joined practices and everything, and then they wound up not even keeping him at all. And I remember the media coverage around that was just unbelievable, only because it's Tebow, and everybody was riveted to about his personality, story, background, quest, and I don't know. I could never understand why no one kept him just for his leadership abilities. I mean, third quarterback, we wonder how long he's going to play anyway, But that was one I really remember being pretty interesting. One of the storylines to follow.
Yeah, Tebow's a weird thing because like he had that 1 year in Denver, and then as for those who don't remember the story, he said no to going to Jacksonville. He wanted to go to the Jets.
Right.
And he went to the Jets, and they tried to turn him into like a fullback tight end, and he put on all that crazy amount of weight, and him and Rex Ryan apparently butted heads, which I mean, come on, you got a guy like Tebow and a heathen like Rex Ryan, of course they're gonna butt heads, right?
Yep.
And then people thought he was gonna do something. Remember he went to New England too. Tebow had that training camp in New England. Everybody thought, oh, come on, New England, Bill Belichick, and between New England and Philadelphia, he couldn't, stick another spot. So that is a good one. That's a good memory. Yeah.
Yep. And he tried baseball for a while and couldn't hack it. Didn't do too well with the Mets.
Yeah, well, he hung around AA for as long as Michael Jordan did. So
yeah, there you go. That's true. Yep.
Yeah. Never in my life will I ever put Tim Tebow and Michael Jordan in the same sentence. But, when it comes to minor league baseball, I will.
There you go.
He's Dave Weinberg at Dave Weinberg 19. Extra point columns over at 973 ESPN.com. He joins us every Wednesday for Weinberg Wednesdays here on Game Night on 973 ESPN. Dave, hopefully by tomorrow the smog will clear up and you can go for a bike ride. Okay.
There you go. I'm hoping so. I need it.
I mean, the Phillies at least believe tomorrow will be a better day. So, and I'm sure that they have. I'm sure Major League Baseball has more access to information than we do. So,
yep. There you go.
Take care, Dave.
All right, Josh. Thanks as always. I appreciate it.
Weinberg Wednesday, of course, being brought to you by Jenkins and Sons. One call does it all. Over 40 years, Jenkins has been allowing you to call one number, 609-641-6440. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy. Look, if you need one person to do it, Jenkins has the expert technicians to take care of whatever you need in your home or small business. Just give them a call, 609-641-6440, or visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Coming up on the other side, if you want to win tickets to go see Brian Dawkins speak this Saturday, Rob Maaddi is going to tell you all about the event coming up next, and you can text in at 609-403-0973 for your chance to win tickets. Again, Brian Dawkins will be speaking this Saturday in Volley Forge with Rob Maaddi. They are hosting an event together, and you can go see it. I got tickets for you. So if you want to go, Text in at 609-403-0973. And Rob Meyer's got all the details for you. Coming up next here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on the Power Hour known as Game Night.
The NBA Finals on ESPN Radio.
Jokic scores! 27, 10, and 14.
The Denver Nuggets continue to roll, winning Game 1 at home. Can they make it 2 straight? Or will Jimmy Butler and the Heat bounce back to tie the series up at 1? The Finals, Game 2 of the Nuggets and Heat, presented by Indeed. Coverage begins tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to the NBA Finals exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
Powerball is now at $285 million. With a jackpot win, you could have the power to do just about anything. Take a chance because anything can happen in Jersey.
With summer savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. Fit your space, fit your needs, and fit your budget. Like a new LG laundry set with 6 motion technology, using different wash motions to get clothes cleaner. And sensor dry to automatically adjust drying time, all making laundry quicker, cleaner, and easier on your clothes. Final days to save up to 30% on select appliances plus $100 off select laundry sets at the Home Depot ends June 7th. Pricing valid May 18th through June 7th, 2023. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Hi, Robert Downey Jr. here. Did you know that over $10.3 billion was lost to online crime last year alone? Online crime is a huge problem. It affects everyone, and that's why I've partnered with Aura. Aura gives you the tools you need to stay safe online. Fraud and identity theft protection, a password manager, parental controls, and more. Sign up for a free 2-week trial today at aura.com/Robert.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Tired of wasting your money on testosterone booster products that just don't work? We don't blame you. That's why Nugenix Total T lets you try before you buy. Just text HOT to 369-369 to claim your complimentary sample. Why have millions of men already trusted Nugenix for a man-boosting increase in their testosterone levels? Well, nothing else is like it. It contains testofen, a patented key ingredient shown to work. Nugenix Total T boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you feel better at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand and #1 at GNC and #1 at Walmart. But don't take our word for it. Try before you buy. If it works, keep using it. If not, keep the sample. You've got nothing to lose, but you could gain energy, muscle, drive, even more passion. Text HOT to 369-369. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text HOT to 369-369. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
At the United States Postal Service, we're reinventing our network to help keep your business moving. With new shipping options to deliver better value, greater flexibility to conveniently reach your customers, more confident shipping with new informed delivery features, and new electric vehicles for a cleaner, brighter future. Fast, reliable, perfectly orchestrated. The United States Postal Service, delivering for America. Learn more at USPS.com/moving forward.
When you open your hopper, you don't fill it with just any hardwood pellets, right? You fill it with Kingsford 100% hardwood blend pellets. Made right here in the USA with North American ingredients and a 100% natural hardwood blend, Kingsford pellets can be used on any pellet grill and add delicious smoky flavor to any meal. Kingsford's the name you trust for the low and slow cooking you crave. So look for Kingsford 100% hardwood blend pellets. Kingsford.com.
Had enough of those little flies in your kitchen?
I did. That's why I got Zevo. I just plug in the trap, insert a cartridge, and let the light do all the work.
Zevo traps use blue and UV light to attract and trap flying insects with no odor, no mess, and no stress. Stop swatting and ditch the DIY traps. With Zevo, getting rid of bugs is as easy as
click, click, blue.
Zevo, people friendly, bug deadly.
97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Well, I want to shout out the texter Jeff in Ocean City. He texted in the show, but then he followed up and said, "I actually can't make it to Valley Forge for the Brian Dawkins event, so make sure someone who actually can go does get to go." Yes, if you text in at 609-403, you have a chance to win tickets to go see Brian Dawkins this Saturday. And Rob Maaddi is here to talk more about it because he will be there with B Dawk over there in Valley Forge. Rob, welcome back into the show. How you doing today?
What's up, Josh? How you doing, my friend?
Doing pretty good. So give the audience more information about what you guys are doing out there in Valley Forge, because I know that this is something that you have been preparing for a few months now.
Yeah, Josh, and it's just an opportunity for people to hear from Brian Dawkins, who's one of the most passionate, powerful speakers that I've been around. Obviously, a Hall of Fame player in his career with the Philadelphia Eagles and Denver Broncos, one of the most beloved players in Philadelphia sports history. Josh, I don't know if there's anyone who ranks higher in terms of respect, appreciation, and love than B Dawk in the city of Philadelphia. I think Chase Utley's up there too as well. But Dawk is just, I think, a different level. And so we're going to be at Valley Forge Baptist Church on Saturday. We're actually doing 2 events, but the tickets are available for what we're calling a 700 level type show. We're trying to bring in the Eagles fans, those who, like myself and some of the folks there at Valley Forge who grew up in the 700 level Veterans Stadium, an opportunity to listen to a strong message from B Dawk. We know his history, his story, the things that he's overcome, Josh, in his life, from anxiety and depression early in his career, even suicidal thoughts, to where he is now. So Dawk and I will get up there, and he'll speak, and I'll speak a little bit too as well. And it's going to be I've been there. I've done this with him before. I know what it's like, man. And it's incredible. If you haven't had an opportunity to listen to Brian Dawkins speak, do yourself a favor. And however you can, we do still have some limited tickets. I believe very limited tickets are available. Valley Forge, baptistchurch.org. /Dawkins, but I know you're giving some away, and I appreciate that.
I appreciate you offering it to us as well. Again, it's this Saturday, Valley Forge Baptist Church. Text into the show, 609-403-0973 is the text board to join in on the contest. Now, Rob, you mentioned about Dawkins' background. I know that in a football life that Dawkins got to touch on a little bit of what happened in his life while playing football. But for you, as someone who, you said you've done an event with him like this before, give a little insight into the difference between, hey, I saw this on TV, and being in the building when Brian Dawkins is speaking about these things.
Yeah. And it's, TV can do only so much to portray that, right? But when he gets up there and he shares and he speaks and he talks about what he went through, like being a young guy, feeling the pressure of performing and having success in a city like Philadelphia at the time, and being young and newly married too, and growing with kids, and he had twins like myself, and sometimes the things that you go through and the pressures that you have, and you may turn to other outlets to kind of ease some of that, or we may think it can soothe that, and whether it's alcohol or anything else that some folks may turn to, and that can lead you on a destructive path in your journey. So Dawk shares about some of the folks who've helped him along the way. I know Emmett Thomas was a big part of it, and just sharing and opening up. And what's really, we talk about mental health now far more freely, and I'm grateful for that, than 20 years ago, right? When Dawk is going through this 25 years ago, the attitude, Josh, and the mentality is toughen up, suck it up, be a man. That's kind of what we're brought into, what we're raised into. That's our environment as men, and in football, like the tough physical environment, like somebody wanting to seek professional help for mental wellness, mental health is they were thought to be weak. But Doc really shares about how he navigated that, how he got through some of those struggles and some of those issues, and how he came out on the other side. And, from Faith on the Field, how faith is a big part of it for me. And it's a big part of it for Brian Dawkins, too, as well. So we have the freedom, obviously, to speak about that as we share about our journeys. And I think the big message, Josh, for everyone is it's okay to, it's overstated nowadays. It's okay to not be okay, but it is okay. We all go through stuff. We all got something. We all have any kind of issues or things that we're dealing with. And one, it's great to get some help. There's people out there who are clinical psychologists and everything else who are trained to give that kind of help. But I know what's worked for me in the past, and I know how I've gotten through things and how I still get through things. And that's through my faith and my dependence on the Lord. And I know that's the same for Brian.
And again, it's this Saturday, Volley Forge Baptist Church. If you want to win tickets, text in at 609-403-0970. Just like this one person texted in and said, I was section 725, row 7 for a decade of Eagle games. So someone clearly specifically identified when you said 700 level. Rob,
yeah.
Is there anything more Philly fan than identifying the section in the row, right?
I love that. I wish I remember. I know I was 700 level end zone. I just don't remember the section or the row or the seat, but I don't think I ever sat in it. We always just stood and watched those games. And for me, it was in the mid 90s when it was the Ray Rhodes era when I had those season tickets there. I'll never forget the Emmitt Smith 4th and 1 game where Barry Switzer gave it to him, and then there was a timeout was called, and they got to run it again, and he did it again. The Eagles stopped him, and then another big memorable one for me was the Lions-Eagles wild card game. I believe that was Rodney Pete's start. They scored like 58 points.
Rodney Pete, yeah.
It was incredible. I was there for what? Ricky Waters' first game, sitting in the 700 level against Tampa Bay. I'll never forget that one too. That was more so for what he said afterwards than for what the game.
Right. Yeah, and for those who are wondering, by the way, Brian Dawkins turned 50 years old this October. I mean, think about how crazy that is. I mean, every time I've seen him anywhere doing anything, he looks like he could still play. I mean, and the guy is going to be turning 50 years old. It's almost like he's entering that like ageless wonder category, like some other people.
He's in phenomenal shape, man. He stays in phenomenal shape, Josh. It's incredible the way he looks. And it's ironic that both of us now live in Florida, so we're both flying up. He's down here, and I'm here, and we're coming up. And maybe it's the air or whatever it is, the palm trees and the weather that makes him look a little bit younger. I hope it does the same for me, man. I will go for it too. I know you the Phillies got canceled tonight or postponed because of the air quality and everything else going on.
Yeah, the Canadian wildfire postponed both the Phillies and Yankees home games tonight. The WNBA postponed their game in New York City. A couple other minor league games. I mean, basically the health officials are issuing like air quality warnings. It's crazy.
Is it that noticeable when you go out? Like you look outside the window, is it that noticeable, or is it just the air quality, but not necessarily? Because I saw pictures of Citi Field and Yankee Stadium. That looked like crazy.
So I was explaining earlier that I first noticed it late last night because I smelled something outside. And you know how it is, Rob, like when you smell something you don't recognize, and it kind of makes you think twice. And at first I was like, well, that's weird. But then as the news came out that smog was coming down from Canada, and then today, you look at the pictures of Philadelphia and New York. I mean, New York City looks like a scene out of a movie, basically. Yeah. And Philadelphia looks like it just like rained really hard the night before and it was still like fog over town. But they basically have said that, that we'll retry this again tomorrow once the smog clears out. And Rob, I mentioned earlier, and maybe you remember this or not, I remember 2018 when the Raiders-Chargers game was almost canceled and postponed, and then they almost moved it because of the wildfires in California.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's where like when you think of wildfires, I always think of California. And you think of that happening there. I don't even know where this is. I think it's Quebec, right, in Canada. But you certainly certainly won't be able to play football. I go back to the Eagles in the Fog Bowl, right? You look back, and I'm sure you've seen video of that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember ruin my New Year's Eve as an Eagles fan. It was on December 31st, afternoon game, and that smog, that fog, that thick just air just rolled in, and they couldn't. I don't know how they played that game, and that was an opportunity that the Eagles had with Buddy Ryan and Randall to really get that W and go out there and advance. And I think Randall threw for over 400 yards, but they only got 4 field goals in that one. Some misplays in the end zone and things like that. So I'm hoping for the best for everyone out there. And I was getting excited about this Phillies 4 wins in a row. So Zach Wheeler bouncing back from a poor start, thought they can get this series. So we'll wait till tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
Rob Maaddi, though, will be this Saturday. Give it again one more time for the folks. Volley Forge Baptist Church this Saturday. Let everyone know the times as well so people don't get there too early or too late.
Yeah, so it's Volley Forge Baptist Church. I think the address is technically Phoenixville, but you can look up the exact address. It's 6 p.m. starts, but the doors will start opening much earlier than that. I think at 5 o'clock, and people can start arriving. So there's still some tickets remaining. ValleyForgeBaptist.org/Dawkins. And all and here's the cool thing, Josh, all proceeds from this event, like all the ticket sales and everything else, that's all going to go to building a fresh water well in Zimbabwe. You know how crazy it is? Like, we have access. I'm sitting here on my 3rd or 4th can or bottle, whatever you call this thing, of filtered water that I'm drinking. And in countries like Zimbabwe and other places, you got kids who have to walk miles and dig water. Like, it's crazy. So the money from this event is going to help build a fresh water well there in Zimbabwe.
Well, we are going to give away some tickets to someone who texted in at 609-403-0973. Rob, I appreciate you setting aside a couple tickets for someone to go this Saturday, Volley Forge. Brian Dawkins in person speaking. Rob, appreciate you jumping on. Safe flight up here. I'm sure by the time you fly up here, the smog will be gone. But it's a good thing you're not flying today, because some of the airports have grounded all flights this afternoon. So
I would imagine. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully tomorrow it'll be cleared out. I got like a late afternoon, 6 o'clock flight. So
you should be safe by then.
I should be good by then. Looking forward to being back up in the Philadelphia, South Jersey area one more time. It's like every month I'm back and forth, man. I love it.
Well, one of these days when you swing up here, you and I will have to catch up. So
absolutely, my friend. Absolutely.
Rob, take care of yourself. Safe travels and have fun with the event on Saturday.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, Josh. Take care.
And we'll pick a winner after the show is done. Text in 609-403-0973. I'll check the texts after the show. I see a couple texts have already come in, so I'll reach out to you folks after the show. Before we get out of here, I did see a text that came in earlier because Jeff in Ocean City said he can't go to the event, but he still wanted to text in anyway to the show. He brought up, we talked about the Flyers earlier, and what he brought up is that, about the Flyers, I know long-time season ticket holders were disgusted with the Flyers because of how they were not treated as well in the past. The Flyers have a major image problem right now, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the Brian Dawkins, because Dawkins was more than just a great player. He became a motivation for an entire generation of people on and off the field. He was a symbol of an era of Philadelphia sports, not just Eagles, Philadelphia sports. And you could argue for a long time, Dawkins was the most popular athlete in the city. And frankly, he may be more popular today than even some of the athletes currently playing. Like, if you said Brian Dawkins for a long list of people, I think there's a lot of Philadelphia sports fans who would say Dawkins over Joel Embiid and over other guys who are in Philadelphia. Dawkins or like I think the only guys who people would like pause would be Bryce Harper and Jalen Hurts. I think Dawkins has the edge of everyone else. And that's how popular he was. That's how impactful of a player he was. So it's really cool they're having that event. You know, I'll never forget watching Dawkins' Hall of Fame speech and how passionate and how much, you know, energy and emotion he brought to that moment. I can only imagine what it'll be like again this Saturday. Volley Forge Baptist. Rob Maaddi, Brian Dawkins will be hosting the event. And of course, Rob Maaddi is also host of Faith on the Field, heard Saturday and Sunday mornings here on 97.3 ESPN. And the reason I bring up the parallel between Dawkins and the Flyers is that Dawkins set a standard that the Eagles organization has attempted to continue for years to come. The organization has attempted to maintain and uphold the standards of guys like Dawkins, what he did for his teammates, what he did in the community, what he meant to the organization, what he meant to the city. And you see an organization like the Flyers, they have not upheld the standard set by the past. And you can only hope the Flyers can learn from the other teams in the city, and maybe that's where a guy like Keith Jones comes in, and he is able to go out there and be an inspiration, be that, you know, guy to say, hey, I see what the other teams done in the city. I see what other NHL teams are doing, and I'm going to come in here, and me and Danny Briere are going to turn this thing around once and for all. NBA Finals tonight, coverage again at 7:30 right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Saturday on ESPN Radio.
Here's the first one to Freeman, driven well, right center field. That one blasted, turning, looking out of here.
Freddie Freeman and the Los Angeles Dodgers storm into Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia to go head-to-head with Kyle Schwarber and the Phillies.
Schwarber demolishes one.
The Dodgers and Phillies. Coverage begins Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Listen to Major League Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.